Devy Degens, welcome into another episode of the Devy Degens. I'm SC Romero with my co-host Tom Harvey, and today we are breaking hearts because we are going to tell you 10 guys that we either think are actual Devy prospects or if they're just great college stars. That and so we can recap and games we are looking forward to right after the intro.
Breaking down the hate, man, we call it like we see it. Finding all the gems while the rest just sleeping. Freshmen to the league, we ahead of the curve. Picking out the next star, put them on the reserve. From the big time schools to the deep cut finds. Gotta know who's next when it's draft day time. Stock rising, playmaking, watch them ball out. Devy Degens, yeah, no doubt. Yo, it's time to talk the future Devy style. Prospects rising, diamonds shine, and only the real ones grinding. Welcome to the Devy Degens, let's go. Let's go!
We call it like we see it, and that's what we are doing on today's episode. Devy Degens, how are you doing? I'm SC Romero with Tom Harvey. How are you doing there, Tom?
Oh man, I'm doing good. Looking forward to my Vols getting back on the field on Saturday. Get Arkansas this weekend.
Yeah, it was a bye week for the Ducks too, and they have a big game against Indiana, which we will get into. As you know, at the PPR, so at Tom Harvey Sports. Don't forget, if you're looking for the best Devy value, to check out Dynasty Trade Calculator. Use that promo code DEGEN, DEGEN, to get 1 month free, and then go in there and, just support it. Bake it. Look, we're putting in the rankings in there, have tons of players in there to find the best value for those trades for it. Now, before we get into our Devy prospects, are true or false, if they are NFL talent or actually just college stars, let's talk about a recap. Tommy, who are some players that caught your eye this week?
A couple receivers, just a couple freshman receivers right off the rip here. Let's go Malachi Toney for Miami and Dallas Wilson for Florida. They both looked fantastic, in big time matchups. Miami put it on Florida State, and Malachi Toney went 7 receptions for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Him and CJ Daniels there are a real deal duo there. And then for Dallas Wilson, we've been saying it for a while. He's going to be the key to opening up that Florida offense. And that's exactly what he did. He went 6 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns in his college debut game. We've been saying it since way back in the spring. When this guy went off during the spring game, that
He's him.
I have him as my wide receiver 1 for this freshman class. Man, he didn't disappoint.
He was my 2. I had Jamie French, who hasn't seen the field yet, as my wide receiver 1, and then Dallas Wilson as wide receiver 2, then Corey Moore out of Oregon. But we were talking about, does offense look different when Dallas Wilson's on the field, as he missed the first 4 weeks games, 4 or 5 weeks, and it does. It really does. I mean, it looked like it definitely opened up. They finally had a true X wide receiver, and he just looked as advertised. I mean, he was breaking tackles, he was running down the field, getting open. It was a phenomenal performance by him. Malachi Toney, the freshman we weren't talking about, that is looking great as well. He's making plays left and right for Miami and being a key contributor for there. I have 2 wide receivers there as well. Chase Roberts, wide receiver out of BYU. This is my sleeper guy that I think can get a lot of buzz come draft time. I just think he's a very reliable receiver, has nice fluid motions when he's running around on the field to get open for his quarterback, who is a freshman quarterback. 4 receptions, 161 yards, no touchdowns, but still he is someone that continues to impress. And every time I watch his game, I'm excited to dive deeper into his all-22 to see everything that he is doing. But he's looking great for BYU, and I'm calling it already. He's my sleeper guy that I feel can have that big type of, I don't want to say Puka, but put him in the right system, he might be this year's Puka.
He's also a lot longer too. I mean, he's got those long arms, long legs. I mean, he's 6'4",
right?
Runs really well for that size. He has a lot of really good traits.
Right. And I'm excited to see what he could do moving forward. But he looks like a solid wide receiver that could be a deeper one to get you in this class. Chris Bell, wide receiver at Louisville. Now, every Saturday morning, Tommy and I have been doing our Devy game days for my other show, the Devy Planet, and we actually brought up Chris Bell about talking about him, and maybe he heard us because we were like, maybe not so much of big guy or anything. He had 12 receptions, 170 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Just lit it up for Louisville. Definitely someone that's probably going to continue to rise and be a key contributor for Louisville. And I mentioned it time and time again. We always see those wide receivers that kind of slip into day two. Chris Bell could end up being one of those wide receivers.
Yeah, him and Josh Cameron have a lot of similarities. Same size, 6'2", 220. Both guys really, can be that real physical wide receiver.
Right.
He had a really nice game the other day.
Yeah, he looked phenomenal there. And then you have a quarterback wide receiver duo that caught your eye.
Yeah, Ohio State, Julian Sayin and Cardinal Tate. They connected 9 times for 183 yards and a touchdown. Sayin went 23 or 27 overall for 326 and 3 tutties. So I mean, they finally were on the same page. Cardinal Tate looked like the number one. He's obviously not the number one there, Jeremiah Smith, but sure. he looked like a true number one receiver.
He looked like an Ohio State wide receiver that can go out there and do it, right? And that's good. I know people were downplaying Sayin and stuff. Man, let him get his feet wet, right? Let him get into it. It seems if Sayin gets comfortable with Ohio State, they're a problem. As you know, I like the Ducks. I rep the Ducks, but they're a problem. To be honest, Sayin to me has more athleticism than what Will Howard had. And you let him get that opportunity, it's going to be dangerous for them, having Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate be on the same page with him as well. Not to go Mr. Bo Jackson.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. To go along with an emerging running game.
Right, exactly. One that I caught my eye, speaking of freshmen, I was beating the drum for Eli Holston, say this is a guy you need to watch. He's a quarterback that reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger. Well, he got benched. And freshman came in, Mason Heisel, and he had 73% completion. This was his first start. Let me just say that. First start, 323 yards and 4 touchdowns. Just absolutely looked it up. Looked like he will. If I didn't watch any games with Pittsburgh before, I would have said, man, this guy's been the starter all season. He looked like a true starter. He went out there and just dominated, looked great. Excited to see how he emerges. And I still like Eli Holston. He got benched. I get it. But now I'm curious, all right, what's next for him if there is a next. But Mason looked phenomenal in his first start.
Yeah, the connection with Kenny Johnson looked real great on Saturday. We'd been kind of waiting for that, for Kenny Johnson to to pop off in that offense, and he did.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Something Holston was unable to do there. And then I'll let you talk about this one because I know this one's your tight end one, and we've been waiting for this guy, but.
Tight end 1 overall, Devy tight end 1 right here. Mm-hmm. Michael Trigg, he is a freak athlete, and he's finally playing up to his potential now. We were expecting it when he transferred from Southern Cal to Ole Miss. He was more of just a spring game warrior there. Mm-hmm. But in his second season at Baylor, he had a solid season last year. Right. But in his second season, he's playing like an All-American.
You say it time and time again, your best ability is your availability. That's something Michael Trigg has not been able to come to achieve is his availability.
Yep.
If he's healthy, 100% agree. He has the definition of tight end 1, just phenomenal athlete. And we do our Devy Times, where we write our little articles there. Trigg absolutely dominated. And there was one catch, what he called on the sideline, one-handed, 1 foot in, and just looked like a star. This is something that's going to be phenomenal for him. And I'm excited to see what he grows because as I said, we've been waiting for this. If he's healthy all season, we're going to see him in the first round potentially. One more guy before we get into our guys that we're saying yes or no to. Evan Johnson, running back out of Nebraska. He's continuing to shine, really taking away what I wanted. I'm dropping the name here. Who was the guy? He transferred out. He came from Oregon, transferred in.
Dante Dowdle.
Dowdle. This is what I want Dowdle to look like was Emma Johnson. 6.4 yards per carry, 83 yards, 3 touchdowns, plus 6 receptions for 37 yards. Just looked absolutely great. And honestly, this is something that Nebraska was missing as well. Just a solid running game that Emmett Johnson's bringing in, opening up for Raiola and his weapons around him as well.
Yeah, he's going to end up leading the country. He's going to end up leading the country in running back targets. And that was pretty much expected coming into the season. He is he's a target hog coming out of the backfield. And he's turned into a pretty good running back also. He's just really an overall solid running back. Probably ends up as a day 3 guy. but he's a guy who can do a lot of different things coming out of the backfield.
Right. Day three, we talked about, don't really take the running back draft capital with the grain of salt, right? If they go in the first, sure, but when you get to the second, third, and fourth, I mean, those are guys you can kind of clump them together a lot of times, and just the opportunity is what matters there, right? But those are the guys that really caught our eye there. Excited to see what they continue to do, because it's been a while they've been catching our eyes, and some of them we were waiting for it, and they finally did. So I'm excited to see how they progress forward, specifically Dallas Wilson and Michael Trigg, honestly, and Chase Roberts. I'll say that. But core of this show is we're gonna be talking about Devy prospects. True or false? Meaning we're gonna say, hey, when we talk about Devy, we're saying they have potential to go to the NFL level and what they can do. When we say false, we're saying they're great college stars, and maybe they could get, I mean, they're gonna get drafted, but is there really that potential there? This is what we're gonna break down based on some guys. Tommy, your first guy here is quarterback out of Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia. Talk to us a little bit about him.
Yeah, he's a smaller guy, shorter guy. But he has really solid running ability. He's kind of a gunslinger, but he plays with so much grit and so much heart that, to me, he's going to make an NFL team. Probably as a backup to start with, but he could end up emerging throughout his career as a starting quarterback.
Okay, so I agree. He has the grit. I mean, he's doing great things with they look so hard against Alabama. They had a big loss this week, but Alabama is emerging as they're getting their stuff together as well. But either way, Pavia with the weapons around him, we talked about before. You mentioned Eli Stowers as a top tight end in this class, phenomenal athlete there. Varell, not Vernell. Varell, one of his wide receivers looking great as well. Pavia is their running back. He's their guy that could get in there. It's because he can play physical. He's not afraid to draw contact or even run through some guys there as well. He has some speed to him as well. Looking great. Again, he'll get drafted, but I don't know if he's going to have the same grit at that next level. I would say he's more of a college star at this point than he will be an NFL. True. Like he'll be so I think he'll come in similar to like a Mariota. I don't think Mariota was ever really a great quarterback, but he had that it to it where it's like you could plug him in and he could have a big game, but I don't know if he's necessarily gonna get to that franchise next level trying to be that top guy there. Do you agree with that? Or
yeah, and I think a lot of what's going to kind of hurt Pavia moving into the next level is his age. Yeah, he's moving. I think he's getting close to 25 at this point. So he's an older quarterback already. That is going to battle that kind of short stigma. So,
right.
If he's going to do it, he has to do it pretty quickly.
Right. And with him, though, I mean, he doesn't have like your 6'2", 6'4" type of quarterback frame. But again, he just has that grit to it, which you like, that kind of dog in him. So that may benefit. And he plays in the SEC. So you do know he's getting beat up, right? It's not going to get smaller guys. But either way, I think he's a late day 3 type of pick, where someone's going to take a flyer on him. And he's got to fight for his opportunity. But we see that time and time again that he definitely can.
If Dylan Gabriel can get a shot, then Diego Pavia should be able to get one too.
Yeah, 100%. But I will say, just based on the offense, though, that's how Dylan Gabriel got pushed up to the third. I don't know if Pavia does that unless he turns around after this loss and just completely manhandles every team he plays there. Our next guy here, I'm gonna pivot to another quarterback here, and this is one that we were kind of off on. Like I was saying, all right, I don't believe it. I'm not sure. But he's getting it together, and that's gonna be Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson, big win over Vanderbilt. I say that because Vanderbilt's upset some teams here. 342 touchdowns, didn't have an interception. He's looking nice, but it's an Alabama wide receiver, or Alabama quarterback, which I'm always hesitant on taking these Alabama quarterbacks. I think it's more of a system thing for Ty Simpson. I don't know if I see true Devy prospect in him, but I think he's going to be someone that's going to end up getting drafted highly on our rookie boards. And I want to say I think it's a mistake. But what are your thoughts on Ty Simpson?
I think he's much more than a system quarterback just because it's not the old Alabama system. Fair. This is a Kalen DeBoer proven quarterback type of system. He got Michael Penix drafted really high into the first round. And Ty Simpson's a better mover than what Penix was.
Yeah, for sure.
And now, I don't know if he's as quick as a processor, but Simpson has really looked nice over the last 3 weeks.
Right.
And playing his way into day one territory.
Yeah, big win over Wisconsin. Not big, but we still huge. Wisconsin, you never know what they can do. Georgia, huge win over them, and then again, just beat Vanderbilt. Again, I'll just always hesitate. I always see what the weapons around him, and I feel a lot of people can find success with Alabama. But that's just me. That's my thought there. We'll see what really happens with him moving forward and what he can do. It'll be interesting though, especially a lot of these quarterbacks that we had as day one are slipping out of day one. Some even slipping out of day two, or we have a lot of quarterbacks that we weren't talking about preseason slipping into day one and possibly top 10 as well. Ty Simpson could end up being that. But again, I just feel I'll be hesitant on taking him there. I'd rather take some other guys there. Who's your next guy that you want to talk about?
My next guy is Desmond Reid, running back out of Pittsburgh. Really small running back, 5'6", maybe 170, 175.
Mm-hmm.
I don't view him as a Devy prospect at the running back position. I think if he were to move into like a slot receiver type of spot, maybe, but not as a running back.
Yeah, he saw that he might get a bunch of yards, but I agree at that size that he's not the mold of like a Darren Sproles where you can have him as that type of satellite back because he's a little bit bulkier. He does have some big playability to go out there and make those rushes, like could take off for a 50-yard touchdown, anything like that as well. But at the same time, I don't know if he's gonna be someone that could take that wear and tear. Like you're gonna want him as a change of pace back. He's not gonna be a 3-down back. At that time, you don't even say he's someone that you're necessarily gonna put on the third ground as well. It's gonna be hit or miss for him.
Well, I mean, I kind of comp him to somebody like a Deuce Vaughn. Remember when he was at K-State, putting up big numbers, and he really only got drafted because his dad works in the scouting department for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
5'5", 5'6", 170, 175 pounds.
I haven't seen the field, or he may have, but very little.
Yeah, there's just not much of a future there for those type of guys. And I mean, with Reid, if he were to move it to like a slot receiver type spot, where they can get him open in space, he could be a big play guy. And, he's a really good pass catcher. So I mean, it's a possibility. But if he were to stick at running back, I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's different opportunities for him, and it may be a good kick return or something like that. But I don't know if he's going to be a full Devy prospect. You could take a late round flyer on him, but even then, he might end up being fighting for to get on the practice squad at that point again, just due to that size there and what he's able to do. Our next guy here that I want to talk about, someone that's a little bit bigger than him, has really been catching my eye this season. NC State Hollywood Smothers. This is a guy that he has speed, he has vision, he has the ability to break big plays off. This is a guy that Amir has been, our guy Amir has been pounding the table on as well, that we need to talk more about him. He's really opening up. I mean, 4 games out of 6, over 120 yards, 693 on the season, 5 touchdowns. He's looking the part. What are your thoughts on Hollywood Smothers?
Yeah, he's actually a pretty decent size. He's about 195 pounds. So, he's not a tiny running back like, like we're talking about with like Desmond Reid. Right. He's, second leading rusher in the, in the NCAA, right now. So he's having a very solid year, and he still has a couple more years of eligibility, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So, he's definitely a guy who, if he put on another 10-ish pounds, not lose his burst, I do think he could potentially be a late day 2, early day 3 type of guy whenever he declares.
Right. Yeah, especially if he keeps it up with this momentum that he's doing. NC State, it'll be interesting to see if he ends up staying with NC State or tries to transfer out after a big year. Right now, 6.9 yards per carry. So he's definitely doing it he's getting work. He's moving the chains when he gets the ball. Again, he has that home run ability. He has four of his bigger plays over 40 yards out of 6 games. So he's continuing to do big things and it's going to be exciting to see how he grows as well. Right now, he kind of is a big focal point for NC State. I was really big on Noah Rogers, who's kind of been not anything really. Now it's really Hollywood Smothers I should have been focusing on. So I'll be excited to dive further into his tape and see what he can do as far as looking at everything that he's doing, whether it's the pass pro, getting open, what he's doing with his vision, really just breaking tackles in the backfield and making something out of or nothing, something out of nothing. Excuse me. There's a lot more to see with Hollywood Smothers, but I do exactly love what he can do. Go ahead and talk to us about your next guy here.
Yeah, my next guy here is Mario Craver, wide receiver at Texas A&M. I'm kind of in a mixed position with him. He has really good separation, but he's a really tiny guy.
Right.
5'9", about 175 pounds.
Right.
He may even be less than that. Maybe be closer to 170, honestly. Those guys tend to not make a big impact in the NFL. You see a guy like Tank Dell,
Xavier Worthy.
Yeah. And those guys just keep on, they just stay hurt.
Right.
Because they can't take the wear and tear. Mario Craver is kind of in that type of mold.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's looking phenomenal. He's been a great asset to Marcel Reid and A&M offense. He's got to get the capital, I think, because especially if he keeps this up, he's going to, just simply because of his ability to get open and the speed that he brings to the table. It's hard to say about Devy Asher or not. He's a great college player, but to your point, that size is going to affect him, and that's going to be a big difference maker. Again, to something you've been saying since we started this, your best ability is availability. He'll have big games for you, but he's going to be someone that could be consistently on the field for you, and you can start him on a weekly basis. I don't know if that's going to be happening simply because of that frame. Now, he has time to bulk up. He's sophomore, I think now. So he has about maybe a year, 2 years of eligibility, depending on how he wants to stay. But that's going to be the difference maker there. If he's able to add some pounds, but then keep that speed that he has as well.
Well, he's really going to have to get into that Aaron Anderson type of territory as far as his weight. They're the same height. Both of them 5'9". But Aaron Anderson is about 190, whereas Craver is 170. So. Right. He's going to have to really bulk up to that type of level, plus keep his burst, his speed, his ability to separate, stuff like that too. So, to me, he has potential as a Devy prospect. But as of right now, I'm probably holding off on him, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, this is one where if you're here at Devy Degens and he's popping off, you could probably go out there and get so that may have a little bit more potential than him, or add some add-ons to him or add them to it because they like this. This production's great, but I just see that college production. I don't know if I see NFL level production again. Who'll have his big weeks, but I don't know if it's gonna be consistent that you wanted to at that next level. Speaking of consistent, a guy that has been super consistent, in my opinion, for Duke. I would never thought I'd be talking about like a Duke wide receiver as I am, but Cooper Barkate has been looking great over the last 3 games, 4 touchdowns. He has 5 games with at least 4 receptions, 475 on the year. Really being Darian Mensah's #1 guy right now, looking like a stud in my opinion. He's not as slippery as what Jace Roberts is to me, but he definitely has the moves and the reliability, and it looks like he's growing a better connection with Mensah as the season goes on. What are your thoughts on him?
My thoughts on him is he's probably an undrafted free agent. I don't see him being drafted, honestly.
Yep.
I don't see a whole lot of special out of him. And to me, I actually like his teammate, Quayshawn Brown, a little bit better. I think he has more Devy potential than what Barkate has.
Here's a good question. Mensah should be a Devy. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he should be. I don't see him coming out this year. He's got another year of eligibility after this. So I don't necessarily see him entering the draft this year. But yeah, he is a Devy asset. Absolutely.
He's looking the part, and Barkate came out. He said Shepherd too. Barkate came out, senior transferred out of Harvard, coming over to Duke. Again, looking good. Undrafted free agents, I'll still take it. Do you think he does have that level to make it at an NFL caliber?
I don't think so. He's probably a practice squad guy.
Fair. And that's why we're doing this, right? To see those differences there. Next one here. Who's your guy that you want to talk about?
Another guy that I've got here who is on the smaller side and has durability issues, Isaac Brown, running back out of Louisville. Um, I kind of comped him to what like Devin A. Chain is
Okay.
On his high end.
Mhm.
I don't think he's going to get there. Um, but size wise, they're roughly the same size.
Mhm.
Durability wise, they have roughly the same type of durability. They're always, they're guys that are always going to be nicked up.
Mhm.
And I don't take chances on smaller guys with durability issues.
Right. And the thing with Isaac Brown is he's Devin is a good call, but Devin is definitely faster than him.
Yeah, yeah.
Isaac Brown, I think, is a little bit more smaller, a little bit more bulkier that he can go power through him. He does have the speed as well. Louisville runs a good system for running backs, and that's where I think he's shining. Not to mention he's the ACC. Had he been doing this with a Big Ten team or maybe an SEC team, I might be a little bit more different on him. But I agree with you where I think he's someone that he's going to get drafted, but I don't know if I'm going to take that Devy risk on him to hold up that Devy spot. If I'm trying to trade him based on what he's doing with Louisville and looking like he's a focal point of the offense
Mhm.
and the ability that he's breaking out big plays. I think that's more of a college level than it will be an
Yeah.
NFL level at that point.
Yeah, to me, he's more of a change of pace back.
Mhm.
And he's going to have to get into the right type of, team.
Right,
Running backs in general are always landing spot dependent,
right.
anyways. But Isaac Brown to me just is he kind of screams change of pace guy, and a smaller guy that has durability issues. I just don't like taking chances on them.
Yeah, the change of pace though. I don't know if it's a change of pace in the fact that he breaks out big plays and really does stuff. Like maybe it's to get the first down, but I don't know if it's going to be consistent enough. Like he's showing that he can lose the job rather quickly, more so than keeping it at that point too, in my opinion.
Well, here's kind of a question for you. Kind of a who would you rather have, Isaac Brown or Jaheim White
Mm,
from West Virginia?
yeah, I kind of like White more.
A little bit more of a pounder, right?
Yeah,
A little bit tougher in between the tackles, I think.
well, and that too, like I think Jaheim White's a better pass catcher. So if you're talking about change of pace, something like that, I
Mhm.
think Jaheim White could be that third down guy. Where Isaac Brown, I think, still needs to develop a little bit better as that as well. So, but yeah, I mean, to your point, a little bit bigger as well there. So I like that. Our next guy here, I will bring up another running back here though. This is gonna be Ole Miss running back, someone that we talked about. But I didn't think he was going to be having the season that he is having. That's Kewan Lacy, absolutely doing phenomenal things at Ole Miss right now. He's a 4.4 yards per carry, 445 yards, and 8 touchdowns. They just put it on LSU too, and he was a big part of that. Really led the team, 23 carries, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Not to mention he had 3 receptions for 21 yards. Kewan Lason's really looking good, and he sneaking up the draft board, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on him?
Man, you made this one easy. He is 100% a Devy asset. He's got good size. Right at 210 pounds. He is a uh, forced miss tackle machine.
Mhm.
This guy leads the country in forced miss tackles. So I mean, he definitely has that kind of juke ability, getting through the line, making
Mhm.
people miss. Um, and he's pretty tough too.
Mhm.
He can be, again, he's 210 pounds, so he's not small. The
Right.
guy can run in between the tackles, and he makes guys miss in space. To me,
Right.
that is a solid NFL running back.
Yeah, we were talking about in the preseason. I would say he's going to take this spot, being a transfer over from Missouri. As Ahmad Hardy went to Missouri, and he went here to Ole Miss, and he's looking the part. As you mentioned, the thing is, it's not really that one step ability. He knows how to plant his foot, but quickly move. So by the time he does his next move, the defender's already still adjusting to his first plant, and then he's going out there and he's gone. He has the strength to break through some tackles as well. It really has like the slipperiness to him where guys just kind of slide off him. He has great contact balance too. So absolutely love what I'm seeing in Kewan Lacy being a nice focal point for Ole Miss. This to continue to grow, and he's going to be a phenomenal asset moving forward. Who's your next guy here?
Yeah, my next guy here, it's kind of disappointing because he was a guy coming out of high school that had a lot of promise.
Right.
He just can't stay on the field, man.
Mhm.
That's JoJo Trader, wide receiver, Miami. Really good route runner, but again, like I always say, your best ability is your availability.
Right.
And he's never really available.
Okay.
To the point now where, he's probably, he's probably barely on the two deep
Right.
whenever he comes back, just because he does have so many guys in front of him at this point.
At this point, he probably ends up transferring out. I would think he would, or at least try to, especially when you have a freshman come in and really just take over the role. I mean, JoJo Trade is probably one of the quickest guys that we saw in his freshman class coming in, just his agility and able to make those moves. But has it translated over to the college level? And that's something where, again, we talk about some of these guys that are top star prospects think I'm going to be the top guy at this next level. Guess what? You're not, though. I mean, so you have your outliers that do, but more times than not, you're not. You have to adjust to become the top guy once again, as you did in high school. I feel Josiah Trader has to add that. I feel the only recipe for success at this point is to transfer out of Miami to potentially give his draft buzz even more. But I think the idea of possibly a one first round pick when he was coming out, you could argue that as a freshman, it's long gone where
Yeah.
he's not even in day two consideration at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he barely got on the field last year because he was nicked up. He hadn't gotten really on the field this year because he's been nicked up. Just another guy that kind of perpetually injured.
Right.
At some point you're that toughness gene kind of has to kick in, right? If it doesn't, then you're just kind of going to get passed by.
Right. And that's where he's at too. But speaking of wide receivers, someone that's really caught my eye, I know I've been beating the drum on Dane Key out of Nebraska, but teammate there, Jacory Barney Jr. And this was a guy that you actually were, talking about in the preseason when I was bringing up Dane Key. You said watch out for Jacory Barney Jr. 348 yards, 23 receptions, and 3 touchdowns right now. Speedy threat, knows how to make some big plays, knows how to get open, really reliable. He can catch the contested catches. He plays aggressive at the high point of the catch. Someone that's going to continue to grow. He's just a sophomore. He's going to continue to grow, and he's going to be with Raiola. We may see them both come out next year. This could be something we do need to watch out. What are your thoughts on Jacory?
Yeah, I really like Jacory Barney. He was Nebraska's leading wide receiver last year. Comes back this year, and now he's kind of sliding into that number 2 role behind Dane Key. But he has breakaway ability. He's kind of a slight wide receiver, but he's got good height. He's 6 foot tall. I think he's only about 170. If he can bump that up to about 180 by the time he leaves college, now all of a sudden you're looking at a guy who has a solid skill set combined with decent enough size to be able to make it in the NFL.
I think he could fit perfectly into a slot wide receiver and really go in and take it to the next level. Someone that you just have it put daggers in the middle of the field, and you have a good quarterback that can deliver those darts. Jacory Barney is going to be the guy, whether it's straight in the middle of the field on a quick slant or whether it's up the middle, he's just going to burn the guys as well. He has the full trace to be it. I don't want to say an X because I think he's just going to find his mix up his best matchups when he's in the slot and making those big plays. You have some more physical defensive backs if he's playing the X wide receiver, where I don't know if he necessarily wins all those matchups, but put him in the middle, let him do his things. He can even be a guy that goes around the backfield and just makes some big plays for you as well. So absolutely love what I'm seeing in him. And there's going to be, definitely upside for him as well, especially when we talk about Dane Key potentially leaving next year. Jacory Barney still staying. Him and Raiola are gonna feast for sure. So those are our guys here. Let's go through them real quick, Tommy. Let's just say yes or no as far as Devy or college. Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt. College star or NFL prospect?
I'm going to say because of his age, he's just a college star.
Okay. Fair. I do agree with that. He's someone I think has the grit, but at that college level, I don't know if it translates over. Ty Simpson, NFL prospect or college star?
Definite NFL prospect, yes.
Okay. I say no, man. I'm always hesitant on these Alabama quarterbacks. I mean, I just don't see them fully panning out. I think they have good wide receivers around them, and it hurts them at the next level. Hopefully someone proves you wrong. Tua, you can say Tua, but he's been banged up too, so I don't know. We just need to see it.
But again, it's not that same it's not the same Alabama anymore. So
true. DeBoer can do it, and Penix is doing it, so that's true. Let's talk about Desmond Reid.
No, too small. He'll have to switch over to that kind of slot receiver if he wants to make it.
Yeah.
If he plans on going in as a running back, he's not going to make it.
Credit. Okay. I agree. I just think even if he is that star receiver, still think he's a little smaller. So I'm gonna say college star. Hollywood Smothers.
Yes,
Yeah.
decent enough size. I think he could kind of be similar to what Dylan Sampson is for the Browns.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to get a ton of volume, but he could get a lot. He gets targets out of the backfield, which makes him valuable.
I do think he'll be a valuable asset when the time comes. You'll be talking more, or will not you'll, but we'll be talking more about him as a late day 2 pick in our rookie draft there forward. So I do agree with that. Mario Craver, NFL prospect or college star?
Um, Man, really small, 5'9", 170 pounds. That scares me. You don't see a whole lot of those guys make it in the NFL.
Mhm.
So at this point, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I say college star. To have his big games, we could say all these guys can have big games. I think Mario Craver is the most likely to have that big game, but I don't know if he's necessarily going to be someone that's going to be seeing the field consistently. So I'm going to say college star. Cooper Barkate.
No, I think this guy's going to be a practice squad guy. He may eventually get a call up, um, but as far as a career guy, I think he's probably going to be more along the lines of a practice squad player.
I do like what I'm seeing. He's a great CFF asset, but that's all I think he is. A great asset with Darian Menson there. I question if Menson's not there, do we still see the same thing happening from Barkate there as well? So I say college star there. Isaac Brown.
I'm going to say no. Smaller guy, durability issues. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, you brought up Jaheim White. I definitely rather have Jaheim White. Isaac Brown, maybe a day 3 pick, but I don't necessarily know if he's going to translate over to NFL to be that big pounder that we necessarily wanted as well. Kind of reminds me of like a Michael Carter, but smaller for it. Now, Kewan Lacy.
Yes, 100% yes. He is actually going to be a pretty fast riser. He's only a true sophomore, so he has to come back again next season.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he could be a really fast riser for the 27 class.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think he could definitely be someone. Since we talk about the 27 class, kind of up in the air still. I mean, we had Fraser. He's gone down. He's not doing it. So we're going to be seeing a lot of different things happening in that 2027 running back class. JoJo Trader, Josiah Trader.
No, his availability has been almost non-existent.
Right.
And he's a, middle of the season in his sophomore year and still can't really get on the field because of it. I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, Josiah Trader. What was we wish it comes back, but even if he goes to another team or just comes out with Miami, he's got to go nuclear, like have back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons for it to be a consideration. I just don't see that necessarily happening. And at this point, I don't even know if we're going to see him get drafted either. Jacory Barney Jr.
Yes. He's a big play wide receiver, 6 foot tall. I think he needs to put on a little bit more weight.
Mm-hmm.
But he has the ability. If he can mix a little bit more size with the skill set he has now, he's going to be a solid NFL receiver.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see a first-round prospect out of him, but I definitely do see day 2, back end of the second, maybe early day 3 or day round 3, excuse me. But I do think he has that skill set to be, like you mentioned, a little bit more. But even then, where he's at right now, he plays aggressive. He goes up there and gets the ball at the high point again, makes those big plays to win those contested catches. So I'll be excited to see what he continues to do. And he has Rayola next year too. I mean, Rayola's not going anywhere. Barney's going to be there. It's going to be nice to see them grow, and that's going to help his draft stock and Rayola. So you're going to see 1-2 go in there, and I absolutely love it. I'm there for it. So that was our guys that we're in on as far as Devy prospects, or we're saying no, they're not. They're just a college star. That's the game we play, and that's really hard to do it sometimes because we don't know what's happening. Some guys really shine and pop off, and we're like, oh, wow, we need to go in there. Then we watch the tape, and we're like, all right, maybe not so much. They just had a big game or big couple games in college. I remember seeing Vince Young at one point. It was like you see players, like college players, stop running after him after he gets past them. That's not happening in the NFL. They're going to continue to chase you and chase you down. That's where you have to draw the line and see, all right, what's happening on the college field with these guys. And again, some of these guys are college stars, and that's okay. Go do your thing, and it's all right. But that's why we're here to say, hey, these are guys you need to be paying attention to. Take them in your Devy drafts before we get to your rookie drafts so you don't miss out on these guys. But if you're not doing Devy, these guys you need to look out for in your rookie draft. Don't be fooled by these other ones that are just college studs as well. But that's who we got right now. But let's go into our games of the week. This is a big one because we have some solid games here. Tommy, I'm going to let you kick it off here with our first game.
Yeah, game of the week here. Indiana, number 7, Indiana at number 3, Oregon. This is the game of the week. I think it's going to be a shootout. Fernando Mendoza going up against Dante Moore. I think this could end up deciding the Heisman. Honestly,
This kid ended up signing QB1 of the class too.
potentially.
We're talking about it hurts me. I don't understand why Miami's number 2 over Oregon right now. I just don't get it. But it is
Quality
what it
wins.
is.
Quality
Yeah.
wins.
Your Penn State's not the biggest quality win they can have over anyone's Miami
Penn
players.
State's a good quality win, but
Yeah.
so was Notre Dame, so was Florida State, so was Florida, so was South Florida. Those are all quality wins for Indiana or for
Miami.
For Miami. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. This was gonna be big. I'm excited to see what they can do. Mendoza's been going haywire. He's been going crazy. He has the prototypical size of a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes out there, and we said this could determine Heisman QB1, it is very possible by the end of the season, regardless of who wins this matchup, these guys are the 1 and 2 overall pick. Very possible if they go out there and continue the ball. Indiana Mendoza, he's throwing 5 touchdowns per game, it seems like, back to back, just going out there and looking good, scanning the field effectively, standing confident in the pocket, not being phased by pressure that's getting to him. Dante Moore is not zoning into one wide receiver. He is scanning the field all over and making sure all of his wide receivers get fed. That's what you love. Maybe not for fantasy purposes, but you love to see that because that just shows his capability of not getting phased by the pressure. He's standing there in the pocket and saying, all right, I need to go through my reads and make sure everyone's open. Whoever it is, I'm throwing those darts. Both have quick releases. Both have great NFL caliber arms. This is going to be an exciting matchup, as you mentioned. Game of the week here for it as well. Another big one. This one I'm stoked on, and I'll be tuning in. Luckily, this one's before the Oregon-Indiana game. It's going to be Alabama number 8 versus Missouri number 14. I'm stoked. One, we just talked about Ty Simpson. Missouri, I don't think it's necessarily the best defense that Ty Simpson's playing, but it's still going to be nice to see him go out there if he continues to rise after that loss to who they lose to Florida State early. Was that right? Mm-hmm. That loss after they bounce back, and he's bringing them back into the SEC consideration as that playoff team to rep the SEC. On the flip side, Missouri's slowly climbing up there. Well, and that's based on the guy that we've talked about tons and tons again is Ahmad Hardy, the running back. This is going to be the true test we've been waiting for. What does Ahmad Hardy do against a SEC Alabama defense? If he goes out there and has 100 yards, which he has not had a game less than 100 yards this season, if he goes out there and do it, I think we're going to start saying Ahmad Hardy is RB1 in Devy. But what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, to me, there are a couple of playoff eliminator games this weekend. Mm-hmm. I think this is one of them. I think the loser of this game is going to have a really tough chance of getting into the college football playoff. It would be Alabama's second loss, and with Missouri already being number 14, if they get blown out here, they could, that could really damage their chances.
Right, and this is a game. This is one that it's like, all right, Missouri, you're looking strong, but now let's put you against former SEC champions and see what you go out there and do, right? So if they go out there and dominate and make Alabama look like fools behind Ahmad Hardy, it's going to be nice to see. Next one, all right, well, we're going to talk about because the Red River rivalry, but Arch Manning has slipped down my ranks. He is right now top 25. He's number 21. Slipped down. He is like abysmal. On the other side, Oklahoma, number 6, looking really good. And it hasn't even been material at the quarterback. They're still looking nice. Oklahoma versus Texas. Texas currently unranked. What are your thoughts on this one?
Oh man,
that's the true one right there.
Yeah. I mean, without Mateer playing, this game really lost a lot of luster. And the fact that Texas has really fallen off this early this season so far. A Mateer versus a good Arch Manning would have been a premier showdown. but Michael Hawkins versus what Arch Manning has shown so far, man, I probably won't even watch it, honestly.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to go out there and watch the full game. I want to watch it, see if he does bounce back. Time to bench Arch for Lacy.
No,
They're not going to bench Arch. At this
well,
point, you're too far. I don't think they can bench Arch.
well, not only that, but Lacy's not even the backup right now. Caldwell is. So, but yeah, they're not going to bench Arch. They've got way too much invested in them, and the fact that I think Sark is willing to kind of go down with the ship when it comes to Arch Manning.
I think you have to. When you have a quarterback of his caliber, if you bet him, you're automatically gone. Refuses to say, hey, if we lose with him, I rolled out with him. I made sure he was there. That's a different story.
I think Sark has to ride or die with him, honestly.
What is, since we're on this topic, we could agree Arch is likely staying this next year because they're out. What is best and worst case scenario for Arch?
Best case scenario is he turns into a good quarterback with a good quarterback coach and Steve Sarkisian. Worst case scenario is he keeps going down the path that he's on and ends up being a 5-year player and ends up being a day 3 quarterback. That's probably worst case scenario.
I mean, Shedeur was a day 3, right? And
well, that's different type.
No, but
that's a different situation. But yeah,
but I'll say based on we've had this conversation before. If Arch doesn't have the last name Manning, let's say it was Arch Trader, that was his last name. Are we talking about him the same way we are? Probably not.
No, and I've heard scouts say whenever Arch was coming out of high school that if his last name wasn't Manning, he'd have been a 3-star quarterback.
Right. He has arguably the greatest quarterback to ever play the game in Peyton Manning. Arguably one of the better Super Bowl quarterbacks to ever play in Eli Manning, being Patriots twice. That doesn't make any difference. You have to still have it, and those names, we get attracted to these names because we're like, oh, they're the next people. I'm taking Elijah Burris, in my Devy rounds because I'm like, oh, this is legacy here, right? You could talk about Bettis' son as well, Jerome Bettis Jr. out at Notre Dame as well. We take it because we're like, all right, they have the blood of them. Can they go out there and do it? But sometimes you have to look at it. You have to look at these guys and say, all right, I'm not looking at the name. I'm not looking at the helmet even. I'm just looking at what are they doing on the field. And so far, Arch has not been doing what Mendoza's been doing. We had Arch heavily ranked over Mendoza before the season started. Mendoza, in my opinion, has landslided over Arch now. And now I'm just not even – I don't even want to take Arch for the name value anymore. Well, I'm kind of avoiding it.
Yeah, and who looked like the better quarterback on Saturday when him and Lagway played? Lagway by a mile.
Right.
Looked like the better quarterback.
Right. And this is someone that we already dropped out of our rankings in a sense just because of what it was looking like. And we said, hey, does it look different with Dallas Wilson? Sure as hell does, and it did. And now we're looking at Lagway. Okay, he's coming out here and doing it. What the crazy thing is Lagway needed that one player. Arch has had that one player. He's I guess on paper we thought he had those players, but it's been Parker Livingstone that's been doing it. Wingo hasn't done nothing. They haven't done anything with Lockett or French, right? Their running backs are being banged up, but we know they have a solid running back. Injuries hasn't done much. All these players are hurting, and we could say it's the positional players hurting, but in reality, it's like Arch isn't elevating them. A true QB1 elevates his offense to succeed at every level. Arch isn't doing that. Now, let's just say you get Arch. Let's say he was at Arizona State and had Jordan Tyson. Maybe talking heavily about him as we do Sam Levet, but Jordan Tyson is that type of wide receiver to elevate his quarterbacks. And I think that's what Arch is missing, and that's something I'll be paying more attention to when I'm looking at his full tape and the All-22 and everything is what is he doing to really extend those plays and make it happen? Is he waiting for the wide receivers to make those big plays?
I think every elite quarterback has to have good weapons.
Fair.
I mean, you look at Peyton Manning. He had Reggie Wayne. He had Marvin Harrison.
Fair.
And then Tom Brady had Randy Moss. He had Wes Welker. Yeah, Dion. Yeah, Dion. Right, Dion Branch.
but like
He was all right.
Yeah.
Rob Gronkowski. He had elite
Right.
weapons too.
Right.
Joe Montana had Jerry Rice.
Right.
So I think elite quarterbacks have to have good weapons in order to be elite.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. And unfortunately, right now, I wouldn't say Arch is elite. As I mentioned, he definitely dropped down in the rankings for us. But
Mhm.
it is a time where you have to say, all right, there's no more of this name stuff here. Let's get into our last part here. Those are the games of the week. Unfortunately, the Red River rivalry did make that simply because it is the Red River rivalry and it's always a game. But now let's talk about some games that we want to watch this week specifically that aren't necessarily maybe top of your list here, but still games that intrigue you. Number one, Ohio State versus Illinois at Illinois, number 17. What are your thoughts here?
Ohio State does not give up points, and they can score a lot of points. I think this is going to be ugly for Illinois. I think Ohio State's going to put it on them. This could be nearly as bad as what the Indiana beatdown was.
Mm-hmm. And this is going to be something where Altmaier can redeem himself because Altmaier is, or we thought, was a solid like field general leader, just knowing how to adjust and make those plays and really have great accuracy as well. If he can at least go out there and perform, I don't know Ohio State winning, but if he can go out there and perform, lose by 14-21, then that's big opportunities for him. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen.
Yeah,
Ohio State's playing lights out.
Ohio State's defense is giving up like 5 points a game, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, be a big one for him. Florida at Texas A&M, who is number 5. This one's going to be a great game. What are your thoughts on here?
Yeah, has Florida kind of figured it out now with Dallas Wilson back? That kind of seems like that was the case against Texas, but is Texas just kind of, Yeah. You've said it for a while. Texas A&M is the best team in Texas.
Right.
Going to College Station is going to be tough.
Right.
So we're going to see if that Florida offense is legit now,
right,
or if they just took advantage of a fading Texas team.
Yeah. For sure. I think this is going to be a big one. I've talked about Marcel Reid being a Heisman contender. We just talked about Mario Craver, just a great college star, which is beneficial for A&M. Casey Concepcion came in a week ago, having big plays as well. Le'Veon Moss is one in his own as well when he's healthy and on the field. But Ruben Owens came out of nowhere and had a big game this past week as well. Texas A&M has a scorching defense too, something that Texas does have. A&M has some monsters too, though, on their end. This is going to be big. This if Florida goes in and beats Texas A&M, that's gonna be the missing piece has been Dallas Wilson. Is basically what's gonna happen. Even if Dallas Wilson doesn't have as big as game as he just had, that's been the missing piece because maybe A&M's watching the tape. All right, look what Wilson did against Texas. Let's make sure we close it down. But now if it opens it up for Trey Wilson or even Vernell Brown, opens up better lanes for Jaden Ball. That's going to be big for Florida in general, and that's what we were talking about for these past 4 weeks is what happens when Dallas Wilson comes back? How does that offense look? Does it open up? And it sure does. Amir does say Tech is better. I was saying the SEC, but I do like A&M, what they're doing on defense. Texas Tech is very nice as well, though. But next one, Michigan, number 15 at USC. USC being unranked with Raymond Jordan, a rising prospect as well. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mentioned Alabama and Missouri could be a playoff eliminator. I think this game's a playoff eliminator also. The loser of this is going to be done for the season.
Fair. Yeah, this is a big one, too. They both have a lot on the line. Justin Haynes has been looking phenomenal, definitely rising boards. I don't think he's had less than 100 yards in the game either. Wayman Jordan doing phenomenal things, too. What USC backs do, just looking very fluid in his movements. Makai Lemon, wide receiver 1, potentially, right? Looking good.
Leads the country in receiving right now. So
he's going to continue to look nice. But Michigan, if anyone's going to be able to stop it, it could be Michigan. So this will be a big one, too. And USC currently unranked. If they beat number 15, Michigan ends up dropping out of the top 25. Maybe USC finally gets in there again. We'll see. Nebraska at Maryland. This one's going to be a big one as we have 2 quarterbacks that had promising futures in Dylan Raiola versus Malik Washington. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of both these quarterbacks. Dylan Raiola, to me, is a top 5 Devy asset, Devy quarterback, anyways. And Malik Washington is working his way into my top 10 pretty quickly.
But where was Rayola thinking about committing to before Nebraska? Was it
Georgia.
Georgia?
Mhm.
I love that he ended up going to Nebraska. Some players wound up going to the premier teams in like your Georgias. But he said, "No, I'm gonna go to Nebraska." He's still putting up big numbers and looking good, and that's something you love to see because he's like, "I want to see the field immediately. I'm not trying to sit behind Carson Beck. I want to be the starter." Arch Manning was a different ball game. We're talking about him. He sat for a little bit, and maybe sometimes that hurts him. You lose that momentum because you're not getting those reps in there, and that's what we're seeing. We saw the freshman flaws last year in Dylan Raiola. He's looking like a transition quarterback, like he learned and wants to film. Malik Washington coming in as a true freshman, looking dominant for Maryland, something Maryland's been missing in a true quarterback as well. This will be a shootout, I believe, because both have the ability to throw deep and move the chains. I'm excited to see what they can do there.
Yeah, Maryland really blew that game against Washington the other day. They were up 20-0, and they ended up losing 24-20. So, Maryland's got to come out hungry, especially with it being at home, and they need to look to put this game away and not allow a team to come back on them.
Right. And then BYU number 18 versus Arizona. BYU Barry Beckmeyer. I'm liking what I'm seeing with him. LJ Martin, I think, is a good day 3 prospect to be choosing. And Chase Roberts, I just said I like him as well. What are your thoughts on these guys on this matchup?
Yeah, I think Chase Roberts is probably the best pro prospect here in this game. Don't sleep on Isaac Mahdi for Arizona. I think he's kind of forced his way into being that RB1 there at Arizona now, especially since Riscano's kind of been injured a little bit. But yeah, Chase Roberts to me is probably the best pro prospect in this game.
There you go. He does say Georgia, but his dad went to Nebraska. Yep, that was a big deciding factor there on why Dylan Raiola ended up choosing it. But very smart. You know, he could have definitely went to Georgia and played in the SEC, but he's like, no, I'll go there and make a name in Nebraska. So I love it. Arizona State, number 21 at Utah. This one, BYU, Arizona State, Utah. These are all games that can definitely flip around what's happening in the Big 12. It is very close race to who's the top dog in the Big 12. It could be anyone's game at this point. Arizona State, as we said, Sam Levet, Jordan Tyson. You say Mekhi Lemon. I think there could be an argument for Jordan Tyson being a wide receiver 1 as well. They're both first-round prospects. Utah, though, they always just have a stout defense, and they don't let big things happen. So this could be a game that kind of solidifies if Arizona State's legit or if they're not. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, you know, I kind of go back to that Texas Tech game whenever they just put a beat down on Utah. They made them look really, really bad. I don't think Arizona State is that level, but they have big-time playmakers in Jordan Tyson, Raleek Brown. Kyson Brown should get a little bit more work this week. So they have the ability to go into Utah and make them look a little silly.
Right. This will be a good one here because we have seen Arizona State kind of miss opportunities too. So if they miss out on those, that's going to be big. I actually see this next one here. I'm going to flip it here. Kansas at Texas Tech, number 9. And again, another one that could kind of flip around. Texas Tech being the leader in the Big 12 right now. Brandon Morton's there looking great. You have Caleb Douglas. Kansas, Jalen Daniels is looking nice there as well. This could be a matchup where Texas Tech is favored, but Kansas could possibly pull off an upset. What are your thoughts here?
Kansas has no defense. Texas Tech by 3 touchdowns.
Okay, there you go. It's gonna be a Jalen Daniels game, right? If they end up winning, it's gonna be because Jalen Daniels does those big things. But that'll be a big one. Those 3 games alone can really determine what's happening in the Big 12 and who's gonna end up running away with it. I think. Our last one here: South Carolina at LSU. I don't believe Lenore Sellers has been officially rolled out quite yet, has he?
I don't think he's been rolled out. No.
Yeah, but he might end up missing this. But LSU number.
Yeah, it's not going to matter. South Carolina can't move the ball. So
you have LSU, number 11, who just took a loss as well. Ekin has been better than Douglas for sure. He definitely has there for it. What are your thoughts on South Carolina at LSU?
LSU's defense is legit, and South Carolina can't move the ball. If LSU scores any point, like LSU only has to score 17 in this game, and it's over.
Okay, fair point. We see can't LSU offense move it. Nussmeier. I mean, what are your thoughts on Nussmeier? Is he dropping in the rankings too?
No, I just think he has to get healthy. There's obviously something off with his health.
Mhm.
Brian Kelly says he's healthy, but then Garrett Nussmeier refuses to answer questions about it. So
Right.
that tells me that he's not that something's not right with him.
No, not 100% there. Some of these guys try to play through it and then it ends up affecting them more than just sitting down and make sure they get right there as well. So, a lot of games, this is exciting. As we're progressing through the season, games get more and more exciting because they're starting to impact the playoffs and what's going to happen during these playoffs. Some of these teams already have one loss, they can't afford another one. Some of them, they're clinging on to being undefeated, but that one loss could truly drop them. Look what we just saw happen at Penn State. They lost Oregon, then they ended up losing this past week as well. There's opportunities for that momentum to completely shift after one loss. So as we get deeper and deeper into the season, we're gonna see more and more of this stuff type to happen. So um, we're excited to see what's happening. For everyone joining here on Devy Degens, don't forget, check out Dynasty Trade Calculator. Use that promo code DEGEN, DEGEN. Go out there and get 1 month free. Check out your Devy trades. See who you can get Makai Lemon for at the pro level if you're competing. See what you can do for Garrett Nussmeier or maybe even Arch Manning if you're falling off of them as well. Then go into Fast Draft. Make sure you go do that Flex 6 Frenzy. Use promo code DEGEN, DEGEN to get a match deposit on your first deposit as well. We're here for you all around at Tom Harvey Sports on X, at the PPR Show on X. Ask us questions for your Devy and check us out on Saturdays. We're here every Saturday morning as well, just to talk what our favorite matchups look like and who we're starting and sitting at that CFF level as well. Next week, Tommy, I think we're doing our midseason awards, right? That will be
Midseason awards, and we may throw in some rankings there too.
There you go. So be tuned next week as we're going to talk about, who's our top QBs, who's our Heisman, stuff like that next week. For everyone with the Dynasty Degens, we are the Devy Degens, and we will see you on next time. We appreciate y'all joining in.